Hi, Facebook. It's been a while since I've done a live. I decided to do one today because I just did a long one on Instagram, and I always get a lot of comments from you guys. Why don't you post on Facebook what you post on Instagram? So I'm just doing a live ×2 today to talk about a lot of emails that I received and text messages that I've received over this last week, in particular from individuals, friends, family members, stipulating that they are now being forced to get the vaccine at their job, meaning that they are getting letters from their employers, emails from their employers saying that you must show proof of vaccination by September, is where a lot of these people are saying by September, or else you're going to lose your job. And people are really scared and saying, what should I do? What can I do? This is crazy. And this sort of seemed inevitable to me, and everyone who they were saying were conspiracy theorists who've been saying that this was kind of obviously where it was all going to head. So I wanted to have this discussion with you because I think what is really important in times like these, in these terrifying times that we are living in right now in this country, where we are being coerced and where so many of our freedoms are just being completely obliterated, that we actually understand what is going on. It is a tremendous time to really focus your minds on the psychology of what's going on in this country today, and on human psychology in general, and more importantly, on government psychology. When people seek to control masses, what are the elements that they use? And I think we should really start by talking about what is it that motivates you to make a health decision. That's a great place to start. And I was giving that some thought today, and I thought about me having asthma. I think that's a really good example. I have asthma, and I have never needed a $1 trillion campaign to make me take my asthma medicine. I've never needed celebrities to make me take my asthma medicine. I've never needed to see a picture of LeBron James taking his inhaler to make me take my asthma medicine. And why is that? What is it that motivates me to take my asthma pump when I'm having an asthma attack? And that's two elements. Those elements are fear plus reality, right? So I'm fearful when my lungs are constricting and I can't breathe. I get scared. And the reality sets in. The reality is that until I can take in oxygen, if I continue down this path, I am going to die. So without any propaganda, without a media machine, without LeBron James, without a celebrity, I, Candace Owens, make the personal medical decision to take my asthma inhaler. And when a government wants you to make a decision, they have to always start at Operation Fear. They need to make you very fearful, right? So one thing that I really regret was how young I was when 9/11 happened, because I was really scared because the government wanted us to be scared because a scary thing happened, but they then sort of trampled over a lot of our rights in the process. And passed a lot of laws and took away a lot of our freedoms that we never really got back. The process at the airport has not changed. They said these things are going to be temporary. They were not temporary. And when this pandemic came about, obviously now I'm an adult, and I was really able to see the elements of fear that were taking place in a way that I didn't have, with a certain level of clarity that I didn't have in my youth. And the first thing that really stood out to me was during the lockdowns, CNN and MSNBC using the death ticker, right? So, and I'm sure the BBC, if you're living overseas, I know I have a lot of overseas fans. By the way, guys, share this video. You know my page is shadow banned and I get in trouble because I talk the truth. It's the only way we can have conversations, is just share this stuff when you see it. But yeah, so when I saw that death ticker, the first thing I said to myself was, whoa, that's really weird, right? Because they've never, ever done this before. A death ticker is meant to psychologically traumatize people. That's the only reason you'd ever do it. There are tons of things that happen every day. If you knew every day, every single time somebody got into a car accident, you would probably never get in your car. If you just kept seeing a death ticker go up every time someone got into a vehicle and died, you would never get in your car, because that's how many times people are getting into car accidents. But they don't do that. They're not trying to get you not to get into your car. So there's no death ticker. If you saw how many people die of obesity, that's the number one killer still in America today is obesity, and the heart-related complications that come, heart disease that come from obesity. You might never eat again if they just were showing you every single day. So you added the lockdowns where all people really had was the media to give them information because they weren't going out and experiencing life. Then you had this death ticker when you turn on your TV. Look, death, 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 death. That's meant to scare you. And then when you do go out to go to the grocery store, you have people in masks, which is extremely dehumanizing to see a person in a mask. It's meant to be fearful. It's scary to see that. When you think of masks, you think of surgery, you think of death. So that's a constant reminder of death, 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 death. And they just ran with it, right? And so immediately to me, I was just like, wow, I am seeing that this is meant to scare me, and I don't feel scared about this because I don't trust the media. I do not trust the media at all. I do not see the media as separate from our government. They are not a fourth estate. They are not keeping the government in check. In fact, the media works with the government. And certainly CNN, which some people think is a CIA operation in general. And I understood that there was a mass fear operation going on. And so what did I do? I went away during lockdowns. I'm that person that didn't line up at the grocery store for toilet paper. I went to Croatia. I went to Italy. I went to England. I was pregnant, lived my best life. The airports were empty because everybody was scared. I wasn't scared. In fact, I wanted to get COVID-19 because I also have tremendous faith and belief in the human body. I believe in antibodies. And I thought if I can just get this thing and be done with it, it'll be great. Unfortunately, I never got it. My husband got it though. And one of those things about going outside and experiencing your life is that it kind of showed me how much the media was lying about what was going on in other countries even. You know, at that moment in the beginning, they were saying to us that COVID lived on the surfaces, and people were wiping down things obsessively, and, you know, they then debunked that later on. So actually it doesn't live on surfaces, and 6 feet to slow, 6 feet social distancing is the only way to slow this. Then I was on an island in Croatia and everybody was tight together. There were no rules at all. And I was like, wouldn't all these people be dead if that was the truth? And so it caused me to think more critically about the information that was being handed down by Western media in particular. And of course, then my husband got COVID. And he was fine. He was just totally fine. And I was looking at him. I'm like, you have COVID-19, but you're absolutely fine. He lost his taste and his smell. Didn't miss a beat of work, was sending emails nonstop. And I said to him, when I had the flu, I was like dead. I thought I was going to die of the flu 3 years ago. It was so bad. After I got the flu shot, I immediately got the flu 2 weeks later, and I couldn't move out of bed. I couldn't even turn the lights on. And I'm like, and I'm supposed to believe that this COVID that you have is supposed to be scarier than that, but you're absolutely fine. So again, it just kind of assuaged me of any feeling that I had to be scared of this virus. And then I didn't get it, even though I slept with him in bed every night. I was like, yes, this is my chance to get it. I'm going to get the antibodies. I didn't get it, and I was pregnant, which, when you're pregnant, your immune system is lower. You're more susceptible to getting things. I didn't get it. So that dispelled for me on an anecdotal basis that they just didn't know what they were talking about in terms of saying it lives on surfaces, 6 feet, whatever it was. I knew that there wasn't enough research into what they were talking about because I didn't get it. And I would have gotten it for my husband if it was lived on surfaces and you could breathe 6 feet away, because I was sleeping on him when he had COVID. So all of these things were sort of interesting to me, and I just said, okay. And to me, it seemed obvious that there was going to be a product at the end of this that was going to make somebody a lot of money. And obviously the vaccines were then announced, and I went, okay, this kind of makes sense. Emergency use authorization, and now they want everyone to get this vaccine. And 9 new billionaires were minted, and the lockdowns represented a huge wealth transfer. Obviously, the government passed trillions and trillions of dollars that they stole from your future. People don't understand this. They think government makes money, so they go, yes, send us checks, and yet they're sending trillions of dollars to the Kennedy Center and billions of dollars, to the Kennedy Center, and just making themselves rich for years to come, and then giving you a $300 check at the end of it. And so it's like the welfare rising of America. And if you study finance and you look into, if you were even reading what they were passing, you got nothing, and yet they're going to be stealing from you and taxing you into your future. Probably your great grandkids will be paying for it. And people just wanted the check immediately. So the vaccine thing came about, and I was like, okay, this is where we're heading. Like, obviously, the fear plus reality, they've done the fear thing, and something interesting happened. Despite this huge fear campaign, people were not lining up to get the vaccine. And that's because the fear did not match the reality. And that's what I was talking about when I said, saw my husband get it, saw their fear campaign, saw my husband get it. He was fine. So I wasn't comfortable getting the vaccine. And I wasn't the only person, apparently, because a ton of people in America just didn't get the vaccine. And the government, whoops, we have a problem, because the reality is not matching up with the fear that we have been invoking through these lockdowns, through these masks, through this death ticker. People now know someone because everyone was testing positive. The PCR tests were higher. Everybody had it, and so many people were fine, with the exception of older people with comorbidities. obviously, and even amongst them, I mean, the death rate was extremely low. We're talking 99% of people who get COVID are absolutely, they live. So, and especially if you're younger than 35, if you're a child, I mean, people were just going, okay, I hear what you're saying, Brian Stelter and Jake Tapper and Joe Biden, but I just know somebody who had it and they were fine. So it kind of worked against them, this whole asymptomatic, oh, well, they have it, but they're asymptomatic. People just said, okay, well, then I probably might be asymptomatic. I might lose my taste for a few weeks, but not worth it for me to get an experimental vaccine. Experimental is literally, if you go on the NIH website, it tells you it is an experimental vaccine, experimental technology, mRNA, just made people uncomfortable. So the government sort of freaked out and went, oh my gosh, wait, we wanted everybody to get this, but the reality doesn't match the fear campaign. And now we're backtracking on all these things that we said. It doesn't live on surfaces. Gosh, how are we going to get people to do what we want them to do? We want them to get this vaccine. Like, what are we as a government going to do to execute on this reality? Because people aren't buying this. And so they had to switch methods. And then we kind of saw censorship in a way that we've never seen censorship before. And when I say censorship, I mean that they were telling us that we had to listen to Bill Gates, but they were censoring actual doctors that were working in the ER and were saying things like hydroxychloroquine works. It was censored off the internet. You can't say that because the government has not, it doesn't agree with that statement. In Vectorman, I might be saying that wrong, Vectorman, you know what I'm saying. People were saying that word censored off the internet. Yeah, it was like the censorship actually made people more uneasy, right? Like suddenly it was like, wait, why are you censoring doctors? That doesn't seem normal. Why are you censoring? They were smearing doctors, libeling doctors, pulling down YouTube, was pulling down videos. Facebook put in a policy that, and they still have the policy today, so this video could, by the way, get pulled down, and which is why I say share. My account has been hit with so many different things because I keep talking about this because you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I will be free. I don't care what society Mark Zuckerberg wants to create. Candace Owens will be free, and I'm going to say exactly what I feel and exactly what I'm experiencing on the ground. I'm a voice for the American people, not a voice for big tech. Or big pharma, rather, is what I should say. And so we saw this mass censorship of regular voices, even people themselves, people who had gotten the vaccine were saying, I had a reaction, and they were being censored. And then they would put something on a post saying, this is not what the CDC says, as if we're all, the same. Like, everybody has different reaction to everything. There are people that could have a peanut and drop dead, and that doesn't mean peanuts are bad. I could have peanut and be totally fine. But they were actually trying to convince us that there was absolutely no way that anybody was having a reaction. And anybody who said anything about a reaction, anybody who said were liars, censored, off to the gulags with you, off to the Facebook gulags, off to the Twitter gulags. How dare you say that? It's impossible. Which really relies on human stupidity. Like, you have to be an idiot, an absolute idiot, to believe that anything has zero reactions. Anything. It's just not possible, right? Even actual VAERS data, when Tucker Carlson pulled it, they said, oh, that can't be trusted. People that were reporting incidents they were having, it can't be trusted. This is only 100% good. There is no medicine on the face of the planet that does not have side effects. None. Doesn't exist. But they wanted you to believe, okay, that this one did. You just get the vaccine, right? Again, relying on human stupidity, which is with the censorship. And people, of course, I think suddenly started realizing these labels didn't actually have the desired effect. It didn't make people go, oh, okay, this is false information. It actually made them go, this is censorship in my country. This is weird. It had the opposite desired effect. People are going, why is Facebook censoring people talking about their experiences? Why would you censor someone for anything? You might be fine, but this is what happened to me. So they had to switch strategies again. They said, okay, the censorship is not working because we still are not having people lining up at vaccine drives. So what are we going to do? And this is when they moved on to propaganda. And this, for me, is when things started getting creepy. Like, I was like, are we in another, freaking planet? I actually felt like I was in the movie The Matrix. I was like, am I Neo? Am I the one? Do I have to, take all these bullets? Because these people this is crazy. The propaganda efforts were the arm stuff, with all the celebrities being like, I got the jab. Oh, guys, look at me. I got jabbed. Tuesdays, am I right? Oh, I got the jab today. It just feels so good and patriotic to get the jab. It's amazing. Make sure you get it because the celebrity got it. Look, your favorite celebrity, they got the jab, so you should too. That's what, literally that was what was happening. It was crazy. I was just like, guys, this is just getting creepy. Please stop doing this. Please stop putting your arms on the internet and saying, I got the job with like, perfectly shiny white teeth. It was creepy. It was like just very creepy. And I was going, that should not be a motivator for anybody. Like, you should never, by the way, make a health decision because a celebrity tells you to do it. Like, that you should know. That made me question like whether or not Hollywood is actually like satanic. Like, that made me even think about like biblical verses about why idolatry is bad. And I was like, dang, man, God always gets it right. You read the Bible, it keeps talking about false idols, false idols, false idols. That is Hollywood, right? They will lead people to do anything. And the government, like, they banked on that. But it didn't work.